Hi, my name is Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and motivational speaker. Today I'm going to tell you one of the tricks and techniques for making your very expensive running shoes last up to 200% longer. Is it possible to get your expensive running shoes to last up to 200% longer than what they're actually specified for? Yes, it is possible. So one of the theories about running shoes, let me tilt this down just a bit here, is that when you go out and you're hammering out the miles, is that the foam, let me grab another one, the foam over time compresses, and as you're running, that foam absorbs the shock of the impact. You roll forward and you roll off and you kick. And the theory is that this foam absorbs the impact of your running. However, over time, like all mechanical things, the foam will break down. Now, you're like, what? How can my shoe break down? Yeah, it totally can. So if you're a hardcore runner, say you're doing 35, 40, or even 50 miles a week running, you've probably already experienced this, where you're out for a run, you're on mile 6, like, yeah, and then all of a sudden your shoe starts like, that doesn't feel good. And you hit mile 9 on a really long run day, and like, yeah, that's not feeling good. And you get to mile 10, you're like, ooh, and boom, you gotta stop. I've totally had this happen. That's called blowing out your shoes. Now, it doesn't seem like it's possible. I mean, shoes just naturally wear down. Let me show you the bottom of these, and you can see the natural wear pattern here. The little hex things have worn out. These shoes aren't actually totally blown out, but they started bugging me a touch, so I bought a couple of new pairs, and that's going to be the trick. But you can see they start to wear out. Now, the foam doesn't show any real compression here. This does. This shows a little bit of wear. It doesn't look as fresh and crisp compared to the foam on here. In fact, they've changed the foam structure quite a bit between the two shoes. By the way, these are also ASICS Kayanos. There's a link below to the video that I did doing an unboxing and review of these shoes, but also a couple of other links that talk about running and longevity. So what is the trick, the absolute number one trick to making your expensive running shoes last much longer, up to 200% longer? You have to wear 2 pairs of shoes, not at the same time. What? Yeah, so check this out. If you, and this is a theory, and this has been not perfectly to my experience, but pretty close. If you buy this pair of shoes, and they're really expensive, I mean, compared to running shoes, what they used to be, they will cover a certain amount of mileage. Theoretically, according to ASICS or Nike or Reebok or New Balance or whoever, these are rated up to 500 miles depending on conditions. That's pretty far. I mean, 500 miles, I'll take you from like LA to San Francisco, no problem, and then your shoes will be toast. That will get you the bad water, even, who knows, but theoretically you can get 500 miles out of these shoes. Now, my experience has been probably 350, maybe 400, but probably more like 350. And that's just a function of wearing them too much. Wearing them too much? Yes. So the magic trick for getting your expensive running shoes to last is to simply buy a second pair of running shoes. Now, does that sound absolutely absurd? Yes, it does, people. But the whole theory is that when you're running and you mush that foam and you run through and you grind this and you grind your foot on the pavement and all this, is that foam gets compressed. And every time you step, that foam gently compresses. And over time, the little cells in the closed cell foam begin to break down. Now, that's just a natural wear function of the shoe. Typically, most of us will wear out the tread on the shoe before the foam blows out. But I run enough to where I can actually kill the foam, and I'll be out on a run, and I'm like, oh, all of a sudden my foot starts hurting. Stop! And I walk home. It might take an hour or two, but that's the thing about running a lot, is that a minor problem can turn into a major catastrophe. Like right now I've got a muscle pull in my leg. It's killing me. And it wasn't from the running. It was a combination of hauling a heavy pack upstairs and then going and running, and it just happened. So I'm kind of down and out right now. So that's why I'm doing these shoe how-tos here. So the whole theory of buying 2 pairs of shoes, that they will actually theoretically last longer, or as long as buying 3 pairs of shoes sequentially. Now, is this a secret diabolical plan by Roadrunner Sports and Runner's World and Asics and Nike and Kayano and all these people to sell more shoes? Maybe, but my experience has actually been that this is true. If I buy 2 full pairs of shoes, maybe not a half set of pairs, these will last as long as if I'd bought, let's see if I can hold all these shoes simultaneously, 3 pairs of shoes sequentially. Does that actually make sense? And I will tell you, yes, from my empirical experience of running thousands of miles, literal thousands of miles over the years that I've been running, if I purchase 2 pairs of shoes and I alternate one day with one pair, one day with the other, they will last at least as long as if I bought 3 pairs of shoes sequentially. Now, why is that? Because the foam takes time to recover. So as you're walking, you mush that, even though it seems like it springs back, there's something about the mechanics of foam and how that lasts, that you gotta actually give your shoes quite a bit of rest time between your run and your next run. The most ideal circumstance is that you actually have 2 different brands of shoes, 2 different styles or whatever, and you alternate between those, because that also helps save your joints and your knees and your tendons and ligaments and all that sort of business. Now, that's a thing for a whole other show, and actually I used to do that. I would have 2 different pairs, but once I stepped up to these Asics Kayano 25s or 24s or whatever the latest rendition is, I don't really buy any other brand, because these shoes are so good that I can just alternate between the same pair, maybe green and then black or whatever. And I'll be able to alternate, and they'll last a really long time. And that's much cheaper than having to buy 3 pairs of shoes sequentially. I would certainly love to buy 2 pairs of shoes over the same time than 3 pairs of shoes. I know that's pretty nutty, and Aaron, you're gonna say, Aaron, that is totally nutty, but that is actually the case. So that making these shoes last as long as possible is, if you're running a lot, you run every day, is you buy 2 pairs. I know it's freaking expensive, but imagine when you're out running and you blow out your shoes, and man, I gotta be late for work, and I run home and your shoe starts to kill you, and you come home with knee pain, ankle pain, foot pain, hip pain, whatever, hair pain, whatever, and then you're wrecked, and then you can't run for a day, a week. I'm out for probably, let's say I ran this morning, I'm going to be out for at least a month and a half for doing long distance. Now, this wasn't the shoe's fault. It was just, I overdid it one day and it caught up with me with climbing and all that. But the other key is to keep your shoes dry. Don't run them through the washer, and then never run the shoes through the dryer, because this foam, even though it's tough, it takes an incredible pounding. That washer and the water action and then the dryer action actually the water will get inside the foam, and inside the dryer, it'll heat up, and that warm water will start to boil, and it will actually pop and start destroying the foam in your shoes. So that's the second way to not wreck your shoes and make them last up to 200% longer, is to keep them out of extreme environments. Now, yes, I know you're outside, you're running, it's 110 degrees or whatever. totally normal, right? But when you put your shoes in the dryer to dry them off after they got soaking wet, you will destroy the foam and the liner and the whole thing on your shoes, because that actually causes an acceleration of the breakdown of the foam. So not only the crunching and the running, but the heat and the tumbling action in the dryer. So I'm in Oregon and I have to go out and I got to run in the rain, and like driving rain where I'm blinding, totally nuts. But I come home, I do not throw my shoes in the dryer because that wrecks them. I've done it. I'm like, oh, I'll just dry off my shoes. And I did that several times, several years ago. And I was like, man, my feet are hurting. What the heck? No big deal, lay off, go on. I literally destroyed a $140 pair of shoes simply because I'm running them in the dryer to dry them off. Oh, geez. Yeah, so believe me, take a word of wisdom here from my painful financial experience and do not run your shoes through the dryer. And that will also help your shoes to last up to 200% longer. Now you say, hey, my shoes are wet, what do I do? You get a fan or you get the hair dryer, or put them in front of your refrigerator. So facing the refrigerator, because the circulation of that slightly warm air, not as hot as a dryer, will actually dry your shoes off, keep them dry, and then they won't develop the foot stink and the mildew and the the mildew and the mold, where they get really, really bad smelling. So keep them out of the direct sun and all that whenever possible. Obviously, you're running out in the outdoors in the sun, whether you live in Dallas, Texas, or Jackson, Wyoming, minus 30 to like 105, huge variability, but keeping your shoes well protected. They are an expensive investment, but these keep your body moving forward. It keeps you from getting foot, knee, ankle, hip pain, back pain, all that things by making your shoes or wrecking your shoes. You want to avoid that. So the number one trick is buy 2 pairs of shoes and alternate day in, day out which one you're wearing. And then also, if they get wet, don't run them through the washer and dryer. If they're dirty, just take a light scrubby, maybe an old toothbrush, get some, scrub them down, get them a little bit wet. I mean, they're going to rain, but just scrub them off and gently rinse them out. Then put them in front of the refrigerator to keep them dry. And these will last a very long time. My name is Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and motivational speaker. Please like and comment on my video. Scroll to the bottom and add a comment and let me know how I'm doing. Please subscribe to my channel. You'll get the latest updates on travel, motivation, inspiration, how to make your shoes last longer and save your investment, all sorts of good stuff. Please support my channel on Venmo and PayPal. Thank you very much for watching.